Part 36. After the wife of a wealthy family was read by her mind, the melon field was full of wild animals. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 351. The curses in the live broadcast room were quickly transferred to the internet. When Xuanhuan used her mobile phone to check, her mobile phone had begun to vibrate crazily. It was a constant stream of curse messages sent by people. The cyber violence she designed for Xuanhuan completely backfired on her. Moreover, she beat herself to death and could never get over again. Originally, she had a bright future in her life, and she could become the best singer and become famous. But he didn't expect that in the end, he would be synonymous with repaying kindness with hatred, resounding throughout Y City. This time, Xuanhuan finally couldn't hold it any longer and broke down crying. When being dragged away by the police, she looked at Xuanhuan and asked, "Do you really hate me so much? It was all a lie to attach so much importance to me in the past. Are you so cruel? Don't you want me to live?" Xuanhuan's final reaction still left everyone stunned. Did she mean that she treated Xuanhuan like this? Xuanhuan's reputation was ruined and not worth mentioning, but if Xuanhuan treated her like this, everything about her would be ruined, so relatively speaking, Xuanhuan was more cruel? Qian Lao's family, what a robber's logic, but he simply refuses to repent. Qian Xian felt that such a person would probably never reflect in his life, so he must hire the most powerful lawyer for this accusation to make her stay in jail longer and come out later to cause harm to others. After all, people always have to pay the price for what they do. And faced with Xuanhuan's final question, this time, Xuanhuan was no longer soft-hearted and said directly, "I guess you really want to live. After all, you know that you called an ambulance." This was the first time I heard Xuanhuan's strange voice. Xuanhuan's defense was broken instantly. Her hypocritical and paranoid love had no way of hiding at this moment, and she faced the greatest ridicule. Everyone also reacted, yes, if you were really crazy about love to that extent, would you still call an ambulance to save yourself? To put it bluntly, if someone had discovered her suicide last night and called an ambulance, she would have won one more point. In the end, Xuanhuan still cried out that she liked Xuanhuan and she was sincere, but everyone who heard her just thought it was just rumors. The false accusation incident simply came to an end. It wasn't until everyone came out that they heard that the live broadcast was actually written by Jifei. Everyone in the Qian family looked at Jifei in surprise. Jifei explained with a smile, "Actually, when I came here, I saw a lot of media staff, and naturally some of them were doing live broadcasts. I thought it would be too slow to wait for the police to come out with the results. This kind of justice cannot be late. It's late. If so, the reputation will be irreparable, so we might as well sneak the anchor in and make the truth known on the spot. After all, only those who have been deceived will realize that they have been deceived only if the person involved speaks out." After hearing this, Xuanhuan breathed a sigh of relief, stepped forward and said with a smile, "Brother and sister, thank you very much this time." Jifei waved her hand, "It's just the experience of being a star in the mainland." Hearing this, Qin Chao immediately asked, "Did you just take a picture of us?" Jifei said, "I reminded the host that the other party didn't dare." After all, he secretly entered the police station to live broadcast. Naturally, he didn't dare to reveal other people's faces. He couldn't take pictures of their faces. At most, he could take pictures of the video evidence that was played, and there were thousands of other things. It's just Siltong. On this point, before coming here, the manager's sister Pei had warned them that in Y City, their popularity is definitely not as good as that in the mainland, and it is okay to play freely, but if the live broadcast is filmed, it will still be easy to be discovered. Although there is nothing wrong with returning to the mainland, a storm of public opinion is unavoidable. Sister Pei has been working on many big projects recently and has no time to take care of Jifei. She told Jifei, the boss, not to cause any trouble for her. Ji-Fei still wants to be a free person here and have fun for a while, but she doesn't want to be exposed to the public so early. Fortunately, he reminded the anchor before coming in, implying that if he made his appearance live broadcast without other people's permission, he might be sued naturally. The local anchor did not dare to offend the Qin family, otherwise it would be easy to be exposed. The rest is fine, just in case everyone knowing my nickname of internal entertainment judge and king of melons from a wealthy family, it will be difficult to eat melons from now on. Qin Lao's family couldn't help laughing crazily after hearing Ji-Fei's casual thoughts. Sure enough, they were still worried that their identities would be exposed. Wouldn't they lose something if they were guarded against in the future? Ha ha ha. Qin Xian took Ji-Fei's hand and led them out with a smile on his lips. It's a damn coincidence, not long after I arrived, something happened to my aunt's two children, and looking at Jiaxi's appearance, I always felt that something was going to happen. I really have some metaphysics in me. Will he be used as a broom star by the Qin family in the future? Qin Lao and his family don't like hearing this. Ji-Fei is their lucky star. It should be said that without Ji-Fei's help, they would not know what kind of difficulties they would face in life. If they are ignorant, some of them may still be able to live their lives, but they will not be too happy in their lives. If they have a choice, they will definitely prefer the short-term pain of being sober rather than accidentally knowing the truth in the future and suddenly looking back and regretting their whole life. Qin Wenqiang kept sighing in their ears before, thanking them for coming, thanking Qin Xian and Ji-Fei. And this time, if Ji-Fei hadn't had an idea and started the live broadcast, Qin Yi wouldn't have been able to escape unscathed. Therefore, they don't want Ji-Fei to think of themselves that way. Several people winked at Qin Xian crazily. Qin Xian didn't need them to remind him. Hearing such thoughts, he hugged Ji-Fei tightly and coaxed gently, "Fei-Fei, you are really the lucky star of our family. Without you, we don't know what would happen in the future. Please continue to shine on us." After saying that, he placed a kiss on Ji-Fei's forehead. Ji-Fei was instantly coaxed into confusion by the handsome man. After returning to his old house, Qin Yi's affairs naturally couldn't be hidden. After the elders in the family learned the whole story, they also praised Ji-Fei highly. The praise from the elders of the Qin family must be real money and silver. After the old man spoke, Grandma Lu personally took out the reward from the safe and gave it to Ji-Fei with a face full of joy. Looking at the box of antique jewelry, Ji-Fei's eyes lit up. It was priceless at first sight. But after returning to her room, Ji-Fei realized the value of these jewelry. That turned out to be the relic of Qin Xian's grandmother. Giving it to her is actually a disguised recognition of the identity of the wife of Ji-Fei's family. Ji-Fei expressed great surprise. "I thought there would be some serious assessment." Qin Xian helped Ji-Fei check the current valuation of these jewelry. "After all, his wife loves to see these," he replied. "You are the one, there is no need for assessment. These will be given to you in the future." Ji-Fei looked at a box of jewelry and thought for a moment, "Are these for offerings, or?" Qin Xian blinked and said with great difficulty, "If you want to sell it, I'll help you find someone to sell it secretly. Grandpa won't find out." "Ji-Fei. Am I such a person?" Qin Xian looked at Ji-Fei innocently. After all, Ji-Fei preferred gold. Ji-Fei lay down with a smile, hugged Qin Xian's waist and said, "I think it's a good thing, so let's share it with everyone. Today, Grandpa only gave me a reward, which made me feel embarrassed. In fact, everyone contributed, although I now know that these were originally intended for the head of the Qin family, but you want to give some to other people. Jewelry is meant to be worn, so it makes sense to give it to a girl of Qin family blood." Qin Xian smiled and rubbed Ji-Fei's head. He knew that this was the behavior only his brothers and sisters would treat as their own relatives. "Well, as long as you like it." Ji-Fei immediately jumped up, went out for a walk, and gave jewelry to each of the Qin sisters. As for those who hadn't come yet, forget about them. It was not a favor in the first place, it was just a reward for meeting each other. Especially when Qin Jiaxi got the bracelet, her eyes lit up. It's not that I think about the jewelry, it's that I feel that all the sisters have it, and I have it too, and I am one of the sisters. Unexpectedly, he couldn't help but secretly wear it for a few days, and he got into trouble. Window. Tabula equals window. Tabula. Tabula.push, mode, thumbspeed -01, container, tabula below article thumbnail -300x250, placement, below article thumbnail -300x250, target. Type, mix. After the wife of a wealthy family was read by her mind, the melon field was full of wild animals. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 352. Because of the jewelry issue, I was ridiculed the next day. It is said that Jifei favors girls over boys and only gives it to girls. Jifei smiled and said, "Whenever you find a partner, I will send it to you." Qin Chao immediately lost his temper due to Jifei's pointed gaze. Qin Jing said that he was very fast, but the sister beside him was crazy about making trouble. Jifei will know once he checks it. It turns out that it was Qin Jing who invited Fang Ji, but he was still rejected. This made me curious, could it be an online photo scam? Qin Lao's family couldn't help laughing. While he was smiling, Qin Yi finally came down. It was rare that he came down a little late today, but it was understandable. After all, I was so exhausted yesterday, so I should have a good rest. But Qin Yi looked very confused. Everyone thought he had not recovered and comforted him a few times. It's just that Qin Yi's expression is still wrong. Doesn't this just give Jifei a melon? A little check. Almost burst into laughter at the dinner table. In the end, I could only cover it up by choking and coughing crazily. "Ha ha ha ha," I said, "how can I completely forget it?" Sure enough, as the body recovers, the memory begins to gradually recover. It's just that my cousin seemed to think that he was having a crazy erotic dream, and what he dreamed about was a completely impossible object. Now everyone is feeling bad. Qin Lao's family also started coughing one after another. So this melon is not over yet? In fact, they also felt strange. After all, they knew such a big secret and had been hiding it from their relatives. They felt sorry. It would be great if Qin Yi could restore his memory by himself. But their cousin was too stupid to think it was a dream. Because the situation that day was critical and left a psychological shadow, that led to the dream. Qin Xian could understand it. After all, Zhou Rishi behaved as usual that day, as if nothing happened with his teacher, so Qin Yi naturally wouldn't think of anything. So, it really remains to be seen whether this counts as memory restoration. Because he was too curious, when Qin Yi went to school to deal with follow-up matters, Jifei, Qin Rong, and Qin Chao, the three most idle ones, followed him. They called it worrying about my cousin, but in fact they just wanted to watch the excitement. It's a big deal. But when they arrived at school, Qin Yi went to the dean's office, while the other three were wandering in the corridor. Look around. They didn't know if it was a coincidence, but they actually saw Zhou Rishi walking out of an office. As soon as he saw them, he obviously recognized them, and his expression suddenly became tense for a moment. He glanced at them to confirm that Qin Yi was not there, and then he relaxed slightly. He nodded and smiled as a greeting. After all, they didn't know each other, and it wasn't easy for them to talk to each other, so they could only watch them leave with regret. As soon as they left, Qin Chao was surprised and said, "Huh? This office? Is the little girl leaving?" Jifei and Qin Rong looked up and were shocked. At this time, Qin Yi in the office heard the dean saying that he should suspend the rest of the semester's courses and take a good rest, and nodded in agreement. This is naturally not because the school is embarrassing him, but because this incident has indeed had a great impact. Now that Qin Yi comes to class as if nothing has happened, it is difficult for everyone to calm down. Qin Yule also wants to ask for leave. Since the dean has such an arrangement, it coincides. Then the dean said, but starting from next semester, in addition to the normal college teachers, do you want to accept more apprentices? Qin Yi suddenly resisted. Dean Kahaha said, you can't be bitten by a snake once and be afraid of the rope for 10 years. After all, there are not many people like Wan Sitang. Most of them are talented but not financially capable. They need someone like you help the teacher whose money is like dung. The dean couldn't bear to have free labor like Qin Yi, so he was crazy about giving him a high hat. It's such a pity to deprive other people of their living space because of Wan Sitang. What do you think? The dean looked at Qin Yi longingly. Qin Yi had a good personality and couldn't bear it. He could only nod and said, okay, do you have any candidates? The dean immediately sent up the prepared list. How about we accept a few more? It's safer to supervise each other this way. Of course, we will evaluate their character before accepting them, the dean said with a smile. Qin Yi didn't really cut off the possibility of helping other students because of Wan Sitang, but he also knew that he was not good at discerning, so he should choose from the candidates recommended by the dean. But because of that dream, his first subconscious reaction was to look for Zhou Rishi's name. After all, apart from Wan Sitang, Zhou Rishi was the best performer in the same class. Qin Yi took it for granted that Zhou Rishi's name would be on the list. As a result, I scanned around but didn't see it. I looked at it a second time to confirm that it really wasn't there. Why is there no classmate Zhou Rishi's name? In fact, after having such a dream, Qin Yi should avoid it, otherwise it would be too embarrassing. But after seeing that she was not on the list, Qin Yi instinctively defended the rights of students. After all, Zhou Rishi has the qualification to appear on the list. After asking the question, the dean shook his head helplessly. Qin Yi immediately felt his heart skip a beat. After all, this list was chosen by the dean. Could it be? Could it be? Qin Yi had to think more. Because of Wan Sitang's incident, he had begun to suspect that some of the students might really have thoughts about him. So, Zhou Rishi was also excluded by the dean in advance. With such random thoughts, I didn't know what to do, when I heard the dean say, well, classmate Zhou, she has applied for an exchange program not long ago and is going to study at a music conservatory abroad. She passed the assessment and passed the 2-year examination. It's time to leave. I originally mentioned this matter to you. After all, as long as you nod, she can get better guidance while studying under you, but she refused. Hearing this, Qin Yi's heart finally skipped a beat. Why, refuse? You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. After the wife of a wealthy family was read by her mind, the melon field was full of wild animals. Author, Yuze. Chapter 353. Qin Chao and Qin Rong went to the office to inquire a little, and after getting the answer, they were puzzled. Are they really going to leave? They had heard from Ji Fei that the two had a relationship. Although they had heard that Zhou Rishi did not intend to admit it, since Zhou Rishi liked Qin Yi, they always felt that there might be some chemical reaction between the two. It just so happened that Qin Yi seemed to have the possibility of recovering his memory today, so they really thought that they could continue to eat this melon. Wow, this girl is quite opinionated. Studying abroad was her initial choice, but she obviously had the opportunity to be Qin Yi's apprentice, which should be considered a better development. She insisted on her original decision. If I hadn't seen that she really liked Qin Yi, I would have thought that she didn't like him at all. Qin Chao and Qin Rong heard Ji Fei's voice, and they were really full of questions about the current development. After a while, Qin Yi came out, and his expression was also a little confused. Qin Chao was eager to eat melons and immediately asked, "Cousin, did anything happen?" "Nothing, the dean gave me a holiday. Ah. Did it still affect you? Xuanhuan worriedly. Qin Yi shook his head and said, no, it's just a simple holiday. Next semester, I will accept a disciple. Qin Chao and Qin Rong looked at each other immediately, so this is what Ji Fei mentioned in his heart just now. Cousin may want to accept a disciple, but Zhou Rishi refused this opportunity in advance. What is going on? Cousin is really curious about why Zhou Rishi refused. Why didn't he think of asking, and it ended like this? It is indeed over. In Qin Yi's current thinking, he just feels confused, so he will not mention Zhou Rishi at all. After all, she took the initiative to refuse, and he can't rush to be her teacher, not to mention that he also had that kind of unspeakable dream. I always feel that it will be embarrassing to face the student. It's better to avoid it this way. Ignoring the expressions of the three people around him, Qin Yi still has to pack some things. Some of the things were placed in the building where the accident happened. After all, they were there when they were guiding Wan Sitong in the past. As they walked in the corridor, Qin Chao gossiped with Qin Rong. After all, Qin Rong didn't come that night, so Qin Chao pointed out the crime scene to Qin Rong. If Wan Sitong chased out at that time and found that my cousin didn't run far, my cousin might be in trouble. Qin Chao pointed to the room where Qin Yi hid that night and said heartlessly. Qin Rong hurriedly asked Qin Chao to speak softly. After all, they were gossiping about their cousin, and being too loud would be a bit excessive. Ji Fei also curled her lips and listened to the gossip of the two people behind. In front of her was the rehearsal room. Ji Fei couldn't help but glance at Qin Yi from the corner of her eyes. I thought Qin Yi would have some funny reactions of shame and anger, but I didn't expect his expression to be a little dull, and his eyes were looking straight at the rehearsal room. Just when Ji Fei was wondering, the rehearsal room suddenly opened from the inside. In an instant, the four people outside were stunned. Damn it, damn it, damn it, what a fateful encounter. Qin Chao and Qin Rong wanted to scream when they saw Zhou Rishi emerge from inside. It was so dramatic, but they could only hold back their screams and look back and forth frantically. Zhou Rishi obviously didn't expect such a chance encounter. She was shocked and didn't know whether to come out or close the door. She looked uncomfortable immediately. At this time, Qin Yi was completely frozen. His brain was blank at first, and then a clear picture flashed through his mind. His memory gradually recovered, causing his body to tremble, but his whole body was filled with shame and regret, and finally a blush covered his originally livid cheeks. He didn't dare to look at Zhou Rishi at all. Because his cheeks were so red, the three people around him noticed it. Oh my God, the memory is restored now. Is it that simple? Come to think of it, after all, it was the first time Qin Yi returned to the crime scene after being rescued before, so it was normal to recall it. Ha ha ha, it's wonderful. Fortunately, I followed it today. This kind of melon is really not something that ordinary people can eat. Qin Chao and Qin Rong also saw it. Their eyes were wide open and their hearts were trembling with excitement. Zhou Rishi had adjusted her mentality and planned to face Qin Yi with a normal and polite attitude when facing a teacher. But she didn't expect to face Qin Yi, who was in a state of collapse and his face was blue and red. At this moment, how could she, who was as delicate as she was, not see Qin Yi's situation? Her face turned pale. After a long period of strange silence, Zhou Rishi seemed to wake up and immediately wanted to escape with the book in her hands. But before she left, Qin Yi said, "Classmate Zhou, I have something to tell you." Although Qin Yi was very upset when he suddenly recovered this memory, he was not a young man after all, and he still had to deal with the matter. He was the one who bullied people. He remembered it all. That night, the rehearsal room where he hid out of control was not empty at all. Zhou Rishi had been practicing in it. When she saw him breaking in, he was in a mess. She thought something had happened, so she worriedly went forward to ask and wanted to help the teacher up. But at that contact, Qinyi lost control and threw him down. Zhou struggled, shouted, and resisted, but the sound insulation here was too good, and there was no way to rescue him in a short time. Qinyi was completely unconscious. When everything started, Zhou also understood that Qinyi was drugged and could only accept everything. Qinyi felt that everything was his fault, and he had forgotten it, and felt very sorry for Zhou. So he left Zhou alone and returned to the rehearsal room. Qinyi bowed to Zhou solemnly and apologized. Zhou waved her hands at a loss and said, "No. It's okay, Teacher Qin, you don't have to be like this. I know it's not your fault. Everything was designed by Wan Sitong. You are also a victim." Hearing Zhou say this, Qinyi felt even more embarrassed. "Don't forgive me easily. No matter what the cause is, I have made you hurt. You can vent your anger to me or ask for compensation. As long as you ask for anything, I will find a way to do it. If you want, I am willing to take responsibility to the end," Qinyi said seriously at the end. But before he could finish speaking, Zhou eyes instantly turned red. Qinyi immediately said nervously, Don't cry. I'm sorry. It's all my fault. I didn't mean to force you to marry me. I just said that all the choices are yours. If you want it, I will treat you well for the rest of my life." But Zhou raised her hand to rub her eyes and laughed, "Teacher, I don't need you to be responsible, really. If one day I want to marry someone, it must be someone I truly love. I know that the teacher is single. You want to pursue music and art all your life, so there is no need to disrupt the process of your life because of such an accident. It will only ruin each other." After the wife of a wealthy family was read by her mind, the melon field was full of wild animals. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 354. Qinyi was stunned and suddenly felt very embarrassed. His mind was so confused that he did not think carefully about Zhou words. But Jifei has already heard it. This is obviously because Zhou likes Qinyi, but knows that Qinyi doesn't like her, so she wants to marry her out of responsibility and obligation. She doesn't want such a relationship between the two, so she refuses. This is also the reason why Zhou pretended that nothing happened, because she never thought of repaying a favor and getting the person she admired in this way. But the two people who couldn't hear anything outside the door and only relied on the second sister-in-law's voice to broadcast, scratched their heads when they heard this. "Then I will give you other compensation, money, house, or connections. Of course, these are not meant to insult you, but..." Qinyi was really guilty and wanted to make up for it. "I don't need any compensation, and the teacher doesn't need to care," Zhou insisted. "Why don't you compensate? Since you don't want this kind of loveless marriage, at least you need money. He is the young master of the Qin family. He can give you wealth and freedom at the touch of a finger. What are you thinking about, girl? You helped Qinyi and were the victim. We are not acting in an idle drama. Don't think that accepting an apology hurts your self-esteem." Qin Chao and Qin Rong's thinking patterns have long been assimilated by Jifei, and they also agree with Jifei's point of view. It's good to get money if you don't get people, so why should you be so hard on yourself? "Well, I underestimated you, and I actually thought so, ha ha ha. I actually felt that this incident was all about her accidentally sleeping with the male god she had a crush on for a long time. She missed it and took advantage. Things that I never dared to dream about have happened. Even if they can't be a couple in this life, it is still a dream come true. You can't be too greedy, sister, you must be open-minded, quack quack." Qin Chao and Qin Rong tried their best to hold back their laughter. From a certain point of view, it made sense. It turned out that Zhou even felt that she had taken advantage and kept telling herself not to push further. But Qinyi frowned, seeming to be very uncomfortable because of the debt. Zhou saw that the person she liked was in trouble, and was afraid that the other person would misunderstand that she had other thoughts. After thinking about it, she did have a wish in her heart. "Then, can the teacher write me a letter of recommendation? I am going to XX as an exchange student. I remember your mentor is over there, can you recommend it to me? Even if I don't accept him as a disciple, I still want to get guidance. Qin Yi's mentor is naturally of extraordinary status, and ordinary people really don't have such access. When Qin Yi heard this request, he really breathed out, but he felt that it was nothing compared with the harm the little girl had received. But since the other party mentioned it, I must do it myself. That's no problem, don't worry. After Qin Yi finished speaking, he suddenly paused and said, "You refuse to be my apprentice because of this matter, right? After all, I still owe you." Zhou Rishi was stunned, knowing that Qin Yi had probably heard about it from the dean. After thinking about it, she still didn't want to leave any regrets and said, "Teacher, I thought of accepting me as a disciple. That proves my strength sure enough, I still got the teacher's approval. But I can't be your disciple, no matter whether this happened or not." Qin Yi suddenly looked up at Zhou Rishi in confusion. Ji Fei outside the door suddenly became excited and grabbed Qin Chao and Qin Rong one by one. "Are you going to confess your feelings?" "That's right, having a secret crush is meaningless. Even if you know it won't work out, you still have to express it without leaving any regrets." When Qin Chao and Qin Rong heard this, they no longer cared about anything else. Although it was immoral, who could bear it? If you secretly open a crack in the door and eavesdrop, the broadcast will definitely not be as interesting as listening to it live. Why? There is something wrong with my teaching, or... No, Qin Yi, I have always liked you secretly. Even though Zhou Rishi wanted to confess before going abroad, she still didn't dare to look directly at her. She just lowered her head and said, "I like you, but I also like you very much. Singing, if I become your apprentice, I will definitely not be able to concentrate on my studies. I will think about you all day long, so I have decided to leave a long time ago. I know that the teacher cannot like me, so I have no other ideas. Sorry, teacher, let me down. I have gained your trust, but I will be leaving soon, so I still want to tell you that you are really a very good person. As a student, I probably shouldn't fall in love with you, but there is nothing I can do about being tempted. I hope everything will be fine with you from now on." Qin Yi was dumbfounded. After Zhou Rishi finished speaking, she smiled in relief, raised her head, and bowed to Qin Yi as a farewell to the teacher and student. Then he voluntarily left the rehearsal room. Afterwards, the three of them went in to look for someone, but Qin Yi was still in a daze. Until he was brought back to his old home, he was still autistic. Naturally, everyone got together again downstairs to eat melon like crazy. Fortunately, Qin Chao and Qin Rong peeked under the door to eavesdrop, so there was no pressure during the discussion. When Qin Wenqiang heard about this, she wanted to bring her brother and Zhou Rishi together. After all, the other party was interested and the two still had a relationship. Qin Wenqiang felt that her orphaned brother finally had hope of being together. But others disagree. After all, this is someone's choice. Zhou Rishi's view of love is that two people must be happy. She is not inferior, but has a clear understanding of herself. She feels that Qin Yi may be good to her, but it is impossible to fall in love with her. So she just chose to pursue her dream. Qin Yuhui's autism is not actually a question of love or not. He will always ask people in the industry to take care of Zhou Rishi in the future. But if he does not love Zhou Rishi, he will not disturb other people's lives. At most, he will encounter difficulties in the other party's life. It's just time to take action. What he cares about most now is that two female classmates have fallen in love with him. Is there really something wrong with his teaching? He must reflect on himself before thinking about accepting new disciples. A few days later, Zhou Rishi went abroad, and Qin Yi also greeted his mentor as agreed, and the mentor accepted the new disciple. Upon hearing the news, Ji Fei laughed directly. "I thought it would be a master and apprentice, but now it has become a brother and sister, haha. After solving the problems here, I remembered the agreement to visit Qin Jiaxi's school. I originally planned to go today, but Qin Jiaxi came back very late last night and left very early the next morning, so I didn't discuss it well. After waking up, Ji Fei chatted with the idle people in the hall, and just when he said this, he heard a servant say, "Miss Jiaxi is injured." The original intention was to say that Qin Jiaxi was injured, and other people went to find her and let her treat her poorly. As a result, everyone was shocked when the servant just opened his mouth. Injured? What happened? The servant only heard from Qin Jiaxi that she fell and got some bruises, so she asked the servant for ointment. But Ji Fei's face changed first. Dog by Xuanhuan, this guy doesn't do his job all day long, he just bullies his own sister, and he went to school to bully her. After the wife of a wealthy family was read by her mind, the melon field was full of wild animals. Author, Yuze. Chapter 355. Ji Fei's heart exploded. Before Qin Lao and his family could react, they heard Ji Fei's output. "The bracelet I gave to Jiaxi is none of your business. Why did Uxian have the nerve to ask Jiaxi to give the bracelet to Uxian with a big face after just saying a few words, 'You are a ball'? It is also said that Uxian will be the daughter of the Qin family sooner or later, so it is reasonable to give Uxian. Can it be regarded as an apology for Jiaxi not helping to intercede during this period? Do you want to see what you say? Is there shit in your head?" Jiaxi rarely had a hard time and said what I said. Yes, that's what I said, only for girls of the Qin family's bloodline, and it's only for those who meet it on the spot. It's because of me, the mistress of the house. Why, I won't give you the worry. If you don't accept it, you have to rob it, right? Am I really drunk? But I still hate Qin's title and don't dare to forcefully grab it, but I get angry and push my sister down when I don't get it. You have a humming pig brain, right? From now on, if third uncle wants you to be his heir, I will ask my husband to destroy you, let you taste the feeling of being ostracized and bullied by your brothers and sisters." Qin Yi was the only one at home who couldn't hear anything. After hearing what the servant said, he didn't think much about it at first, but suddenly he felt that the surroundings were filled with murderous intent. At a glance, Ji Fei, Qin Xiao and Qin Rong all looked very angry. "Qin Yi?" Ji Fei got angrier as she thought about it, so she took out her cell phone and sent a message to Qin Xian. "Husband, I found out that Jiaxi was injured. It may have something to do with his brother. This guy bullies his sister. Teach him a lesson." Ji Fei is now becoming less and less defensive about Qin Xian, and sometimes she doesn't care about the risk of exposure. Qin Xian never questions what she said anyway, so he simply expresses it directly. He is not in the company today, but there are other ways. Ji Fei smiled when he saw Qin Xian's reply. Qin Xian listened to Ji Fei's words and planned to teach him a lesson directly, but found that he was not there, so he had to teach him a roundabout way. However, during this period, Qin Xian took his fourth uncle and his family to review the Qin family's property in Y City. Qin Han followed him most of the time. He was afraid that others would take away his future power. After all, according to the original situation, Qin Han the title is in the mainland, and the fourth uncle's family is in G City, so he will not take over his property. But if Qin Xian finds out that there is anything that can be adjusted after reviewing it, he might just swallow what he can inherit in the future. He is very defensive now. So it's strange that people are not here. "Did you go to school to bully people again? Let me check. Damn, I really went to school, but not to grab the bracelet, but to replace my third uncle and give a speech at the university as a successful person. Is this because I want to show off?" When Ji Fei found this, he suddenly had a bad smile on his lips, and immediately sent a message to Qin Xian. Then he said to everyone, "The weather is perfect today, why don't we go to school to surprise Jiaxi? If Jiaxi is unwell, we can still take care of her." Doesn't the school not know GXC's identity? We have to support her. Qin Chao and Qin Rong already had a tacit understanding. Knowing that Ji Fei was going to cause trouble, he immediately showed a ferocious smile. Qin Yi felt something was wrong, but as their tour guide, he must take people there. Soon, a group of 4 people arrived at the University College activity area where Qin GXC was located. Ji Fei used the melon system to check it out. At this time, Qin GXC was in class, so he didn't want to disturb him, so he went to visit with everyone. The greening on campus is very good. While walking through a forest, I suddenly heard voices. During class, there were very few students wandering around, so the woods were very quiet, so I could hear them clearly. You know, I'm doing this to protect you, otherwise my parents will break us up, and those people will target you. I'm doing this for your own good, came the boy's voice. But I'm still very wronged, came a delicate female voice. Baby, you know, I only love you. Once the plan succeeds, my family will not object. Listening to the conversation, Ji Fei and others looked at each other and felt as if they had eaten something. But at this moment, everyone just thought that he was a young man who was not favored by the people around him, and did not hear anything unusual. Anyway, he was very interested. As a result, looking from a distance, I saw a man and a woman hugging each other. The boy was kissing the girl passionately. Both of them were pretty good looking and well dressed. They didn't look like they were out of place. Wrong. Everyone was confused, but it was still embarrassing to encounter such a scene, so they left quickly. After leaving the grove, everyone still sighed, youthful. Just at this time, the bell rang in the campus. Ji Fei couldn't follow the Chigwa system to take people to the classroom to find Qin GXC, so she still contacted GXC. Qin GXC immediately called back excitedly. Her voice sounded like she was happy that they had come. When she heard that everyone was coming to pick her up, she immediately said no. So the two parties agreed on a central landmark building to gather. But Ji Fei and his party had been there for a while, but no one came. Ji Fei was worried and checked immediately. After checking, his face changed suddenly, and he immediately walked away. As he walked, he was looking for a suitable reason. Are your legs and feet still hurting after not coming here for so long? Why don't we go pick someone up? Qin Chao and Qin Rong only heard a series of curse words in Ji Fei's heart, and immediately followed him without saying a word. Seeing the majestic momentum of the 3 people, Qin Yi's face was filled with questions again. Soon, they passed a square with a fountain pool, and many people were watching the excitement around it. What are they doing around the fountain pool? Making a wish, Qin Yi asked curiously. No one answered, and Ji Fei ran towards the fountain faster. It was not until they got closer that they saw a person in the fountain pool, bending over to pick something up in the water. Qin Yi looked closely and was stunned. It turned out to be Qin GXC. At this time, Qin GXC's clothes were wet, and she was in a very embarrassed state. Her eyes were red like a rabbit, but she was stubborn and refused to shed tears. She had collected some beads in her hands. Qin Yi vaguely remembered that it seemed to be very similar to the bracelet beads that Ji Fei gave to Qin GXC. There were people shouting next to her. Qin GXC, this is all your fault. If you had handed it over, it wouldn't have been torn apart, so don't blame me later. Collect it well. If you can't collect it all, if UXIN really wants you to compensate, I'm afraid you can't afford it. You dare to be Suzy Yi's girlfriend with your condition? You really bring shame to Suzy Yi. You can't steal other people's things even if you envy them. You thief, or you're a liar. I really don't know what Suzy Yi likes about you. I say, let's not be too lenient. Just report it to the school and let the school expel this bitch. The girls standing at the edge of the pool gathered together and laughed. There were also some boys next to them, looking at Qin GXC, whose body was wet, with very explicit eyes. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. After the wife of a wealthy family was read by her mind, the melon field was full of wild animals. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 356. Seeing this scene, the collective blood pressure of Jifei and the four others rose. Except for Jifei, the other three people immediately rushed forward. Jifei, however, held her phone and calmly recorded those people just now, not letting any of them go. Qin Jiaxi kept looking for it. After all, it was the most loving gift she had not received in a long time. She cherished it very much, but she didn't want to avoid her brother's request, nor did she avoid others. She had to hurry up, otherwise she would make everyone wait too long. But those disgusting words really made her tremble. Bullying has become a habit. In the past, no matter what she said, no one would believe it. Suzy would also tell her not to cause trouble, or that she was wrong, so gradually, she was no longer willing to waste words. But at this moment, holding those beads in her hands, she couldn't help it. It's not my fault, it's you who are bullying others. You are bullying me. I will file a lawsuit with the school and say that you took my bracelet. I can also call the police. The bracelet is obviously mine, not Uxian's at all. I don't know why Uxian has something similar, but mine is mine. It was given to me by my family. Her loss of things has nothing to do with me. I'm not a thief. You are not a liar, you are spreading rumors and bullying others, you are wrong. Probably they didn't expect Qin Jiaxi to resist, which immediately aroused the anger of those people. You still don't admit it, the first time we saw it, it was Uxian wearing it. It was obviously because she saw that Uxian had a beautiful bracelet, so she was jealous of her and stole it. Why did your family give it to you? Can your family afford it? At most. Suzy bought it for you, but we asked Suzy and he said he didn't buy it for you. Qin Jiaxi's movement of picking up beads froze. It was as if my mind had been electrocuted. But at this moment, a boy deliberately made trouble and wanted to scoop up water from the pool and throw it at Qin Jiaxi on the pretext of punishing the thief. His mean look was obviously toying with the girl. Teach you a lesson. They were not worried at all, because even if Qin Jiaxi was Suzy's girlfriend, they would not make Suzy angry if they bullied Qin Jiaxi. But just as he was scooping up the water, a figure quickly approached and quickly grabbed his wrist. Before anyone could react, Qin Chao threw the boy over his shoulder and into the pool. The splashing water instantly affected the onlookers outside. At this time, Qin Yi and Qin Rong had appeared in front of Qin Jiaxi, calling her to come out quickly. Qin Jiaxi couldn't react at all, so she stupidly obeyed the command and walked out. Qin Rong held her hand with worry on her face. Qin Yi had already taken off his coat and put it on Qin Jiaxi's body. This turn of events made everyone around him dumbfounded. Not only because of the outstanding appearance of several people, but also because of Qin Yi's identity. After all, he had been famous before and everyone knew about him. I also know that Qin Yi's background is the Qin group, but I can't figure out why he would appear here to protect Qin Jiaxi. The student who was thrown stood up angrily and said angrily, "What are you doing? Stay, don't come out, or I'll blow your head off," Qin Chao said coldly. Although he didn't know his identity, the boy was frightened by Qin Chao's murderous intent and didn't know how to deal with it for a while. "You are teacher Qin, how could you?" someone said in surprise. Qin Yi looked at the people around him with a cold expression. "You are bullying your classmates." The leaders were shocked and quickly put on an innocent look and said, "We are not, we are just educating bad classmates. Teacher Qin, you don't know, this girl is very bad and steals people's things. We are returning her." "You, What evidence do you have? Xuanhuan was so angry that she didn't know what to say. It's just that one of our classmates lost the exact same bracelet. Before anyone could finish speaking, a voice was heard not far away. Gxi, what are you doing? Everyone was quiet for a moment, and when they looked over following the sound, they saw a boy walking over from a distance with a cold face. Someone whispered, Suzy is here, and he shouldn't be here to support Qin Gxi. At this time, when Ji Fei and others saw the people coming and listened to the sounds around them, their eyes widened in disbelief. Isn't that the inseparable boy who just kissed someone in the woods? Ji Fei suddenly had a brainstorm. Suzy, as expected, it was Xuan who was with him just now. Depend on. The two came together. Because they knew Qin Yi's identity and were worried that the situation would get out of control, Suzy ran out, but Xuan was secretly observing from a distance. So the bracelet thing is indeed. There was no need for Ji Fei to investigate. When Qin Chao and Qin Rong heard this, their faces turned fierce and they stared at Suzy. Suzy actually didn't know Qin Chao and Qin Rong, but the wealthy family who lived in Y City naturally knew Qin Yi, and the two had even met. Originally, Qin Yi knew that he was Qin Gxi's boyfriend, so he might have an extra layer of trust. But now Suzy's image in Qin Yi's heart has collapsed, not only because of the affair, but also because of what these people said and did just now. Qin Yi couldn't understand at all why the young lady of the Qin family was bullied at school, and her well-matched boyfriend didn't play any protective role. After all, judging from their status, dominating this campus is no joke, right? Suzy was a good showman. He stepped forward and nodded to Qin Yi. Brother Qin Yi is here too. Thank you for taking care of me. With that said, he was about to pull Qin Gxi out from between Qin Yi and Qin Rong. His movements were not gentle, but also a little impatient. While pulling me, he said, are you making trouble again? Can't you just calm down? Why do you always stir up trouble? Look at what happened to you. Come with me first. As he said that, he actually wanted to take the person away. Wait. As long as we are here, when will it be your turn to take Gxi away? Ji Fei put away her cell phone and slowly walked through the crowd. A hand knife fell unceremoniously and hit Suzy's grabbing arm. In fact, according to Ji Fei's strength, it was impossible for Suzy to feel pain, but he felt his whole body stiffen and was stunned. This was the first time he encountered such a thing. After all, few people in the entire Y City dared to treat him like this. He looked at Ji Fei in disbelief. You are crazy. Very good, I will tell my husband the sentence, Ji Fei sneered. Suzy was stunned and suddenly had a bad feeling. After all, this person defended Qin Gxi. Others didn't know Qin Gxi's identity, but he knew it. But he was not a weakling. He said angrily, I don't care what your identity is. My girlfriend needs to change clothes now. I'm taking my girlfriend away. Why are you interfering? Gxi, are you coming with me? Qin Gxi did not react at this moment, as if she was thinking about something. Ji Fei held Qin Gxi's hand and said to Suzy, since you are Gxi's boyfriend, you can handle it. Several people here were bullying Gxi just now, saying that Gxi's bracelet was stolen from someone else. Keep it up, I broke Gxi's bracelet, what do you want to do? Window. Tabula equals window. Tabula. Tabula.push, mode, thumbspeed -01, container, tabula below article thumbnail -300x250, placement, below article thumbnail -300x250, target. Type, mix. After the wife of a wealthy family was read by her mind, the melon field was full of wild animals. Author, Use. Chapter 357. Because Ji Fei disrupted the situation, Suzy's face turned ugly. If you have any questions, we'll talk about it later. GXE needs to change clothes now. After saying that, he glanced at Qin GXE with sharp eyes again. In the past, as long as his face turned cold, Qin GXE would be obedient, but this time, Qin GXE was indifferent. Oh, the scumbag is anxious, isn't it, because he saw Qin Yi here and wanted to take Qin GXE away quickly? Is he so afraid that others will know that Qin GXE is from the Qin family? It turns out that concealing Qin GXE's identity on campus was not only Qin Han's request, but you also got involved. I was wondering before why, as my boyfriend, you allowed others to bully Qin GXE like this. It turns out that everything was tacitly accepted. It's really a good idea for you to hide Qin GXE's identity from the outside world and watch her being bullied. Ji Fei was extremely angry. When Qin Chao and Qin Rong heard this, they finally understood that it turned out that Suzy wanted to take Qin GXE away so much because he was not simply unwilling to stand up for his girlfriend, but because he was afraid that Qin GXE's identity would be exposed. Just now, he said to Qin Yi, "Thank you for taking care of me," which is simply blurring the concept, making everyone think that Qin Yi came forward just to help an acquaintance's girlfriend, for his sake, Suzy's, and had nothing to do with Qin GXE. Good boy. How dare you bully the daughter of the Qin family? How brave you are. This is not a small problem. This bracelet is priceless and of great significance. Qin Chao sneered. What? The young master of the Su family is so generous, but he is not willing to seek justice for his girlfriend. Although Qin Chao does not work for the Qin group, the aura of a big star here is very overwhelming. Suzy's face turned ugly and he said, "It's just a small matter, GXE won't care about it." "No, it's not a trivial matter." "I don't care." Suddenly, Qin GXE, who had been silent all this time, spoke up. Qin GXE raised her head, with tears still in her eyes. She looked straight at Suzy and asked as if she had cleared up the fog, "Are you trying to make a big deal out of a big deal again and make me swallow my anger? Why do I suffer every time? Bullying, are you like this? Aren't you my boyfriend? I don't ask you to vent your anger on me, but why are you not even willing to give me justice?" When something was wrong, the long-suffering grievance finally broke out. Qin GXE's question with a trembling voice made Suzy a little angry. "GXE, stop making trouble, you are too willful, and I will ignore you." Ji Fei and others almost laughed angrily. Qin Yi frowned and said, "Are you sick? Who is making trouble?" When Qin Yi directly attacked him, Suzy's face suddenly became colorful. The students around him also couldn't help but start talking about it. Suzy probably did this because he didn't want his girlfriend's scandal to cause a big scandal. It's Qin GXE who doesn't know good from evil. That's right, it was Qin GXE who stole UXIN's things. Suzy was protecting her. I don't think teacher Qin knew anything. It should be unclear, otherwise it would be impossible to defend this thief based on teacher Qin's identity. Qin Yi naturally heard the whispers and was immediately filled with questions. What and what? What worries? Qin Yi was really confused and was about to ask, but Suzy probably saw something and immediately interrupted eagerly. "GXE, I ask you again, are you leaving? My patience has its limit." Ji Fei and others didn't wait to get angry. Qin GXE suddenly asked seriously, "I have a question. Do you know that this bracelet was given to me by my family? Why didn't you say it when they asked you? You just said that you didn't buy it. You are guiding everyone and letting everyone. Do you think my bracelet came from something wrong?" One sentence instantly silenced the scene. "Great sister, you finally woke up." Yes, that's right, that's what he thought, because he wants to vent his anger on UXIN's behalf, because he actually likes UXIN. Although Qin Chao and Qin Rong had already made some assumptions after meeting the couple in Xuanhuan, they were still furious when they actually said it. The only good thing is that Qin GXE is not a love brain, and she finally sees clearly the intentions of a certain scumbag. Probably because he was upset after being exposed, Suzy acted even more angry, as if he had been insulted by Qin Jiaxi. Qin Jiaxi, you'd better think clearly before speaking. Suzy's tone was cold and warning, but his attitude was still very arrogant. Why would I do this? Do you still think I'm your boyfriend? Qin Jiaxi was stunned, and her body instinctively shrank. Suzy is of great significance to her, because when she was wronged, she met Suzy. Suzy was like a beam of light entering her world. His public confession made Qin Jiaxi, who had been trapped in self-doubt, a feeling of recognition. That was redemption for her. When she learned that she could marry Suzy in the future, she was really happy. She thought that if she married Suzy one day, she would be able to escape from that suffocating home. It didn't matter if her mother and brother didn't love her. At least she still has a boyfriend who loves him. Therefore, Suzy was her life-saving straw. Even if this straw was covered with thorns and always stabbed silently, she did not dare to let go. But this time after the family gathering, she always felt something was wrong, very wrong. Suzy had a very cold attitude towards her and almost never cared about her. Apart from telling others that they were boyfriend and girlfriend, he almost never did anything to protect her. No matter who she had conflicts with, Suzy would always stand on her opposite side. Looking at her, although it was not the complete denial and scolding of her mother and brother, it was still ruthless. Everything is wrong. I doubt it too. Are you my boyfriend? Qin Jiaxi suddenly murmured. Suzy's face changed, and he looked at Qin Jiaxi in disbelief. At this moment, a beautiful girl ran over. What's the matter? Jiaxi, are you arguing with Suzy? Roar, the White Lotus bitch made a brilliant appearance. Sure enough, she has been watching the show. Does she think this show can't go on? Qin Chao and Qin Rong stared at the person who came in an instant. This is Uxin. After seeing Uxin, Suzy's face became much better. Sure enough, he had a completely different attitude. There was no quarrel. It was Jiaxi who was making trouble. I wanted to take her to change clothes, but she was still stubborn with me, Suzy said. Uxin immediately looked at Qin Jiaxi and disagreed. Look, you are all wet. Come back to the dormitory with me to change clothes, don't catch a cold. Uxin, why are you so nice to her? Look at what she is holding in her hand. The girl who took the lead in bullying said puzzledly. Uxin's face changed, and she said, we are good sisters. What does it matter if I am good to my sisters? Nothing else matters. Please make way. Another master of deception, wanting to end this matter unclearly, that's not possible. Oh, you are Uxin. It's just right that you are here. Let's confront them face to face. They said that your bracelet was stolen by Jiaxi. Come and see if it is the same as the one on Jiaxi's hand. After the wife of a wealthy family was read by her mind, the melon field was full of wild animals. Author, Yuze. Chapter 358. Ji-Fei's straightforwardness made Uxin's face stiffen, but she quickly adjusted and said, ah, sister, I don't even care anymore. Just throw it away. It doesn't matter. Are you planning to continue to throw dirty water and make Qin Jiaxi speechless? Oh, what you said is nice. You don't care. It just lets everyone assume that Qin Jiaxi stole it. It's just that you don't pursue it, right? Ji-Fei directly exposed Uxin's little thoughts. Uxin's expression changed, and Qin Jiaxi also reacted. Looking at the expressions of the people around her, she knew that when Uxin said what she just said, everyone seemed to tacitly agree that Uxin would let her, the thief, go. Qin Jiaxi seemed to have finally realized why she always couldn't argue with Uxin before. Even though the other party didn't directly attack her with words, she always made everyone hate her. She thought she was born to be annoying, but now. She immediately stared at Uxin. You clearly know that the bracelet is mine. There is no way I could steal your thing. You did it on purpose. Qin Jiaxi, what are you doing? How can you speculate on others with such vicious thoughts? Suzy said in an instant anger. Qin Jiaxi was startled by the fierceness. Seeing Suzy's angry look, she looked at Uxian again, her eyes flashed, and then she smiled sadly. You're right. People who do this deliberately are really vicious. Ji Fei smiled and looked at Uxian. Suzy was stunned, and Uxian was so shocked that she almost couldn't breathe, but she still said aggrievedly, I just want to express that I don't care about losing the bracelet. I really don't have any other meaning. You don't care, I do. After all, I personally gave this bracelet to Jiaxi. Could it be that I stole it from you and gave it to you again? Ji Fei immediately put down her face. These words naturally revealed Ji Fei's identity immediately. The current wife of the Qin family. Uxian was flustered and her eyes rolled around, as if she wanted to defend herself, but Ji Fei was already impatient. Are you mute? Open your eyes and see clearly. Do these beads have the same composition as your bracelet? If you say the same, I will immediately call a jewelry appraiser to come and identify it in public. I would like to know how the antique bracelet became what it is. Your new bracelet. After all, she still didn't dare to confront the Qin family members. Uxian could only make up for herself by saying, I never said Jiaxi stole it, it's just that I lost the bracelet. Qin Chao snorted coldly when he heard this and said, then you mean that you and Qin Jiaxi have exactly the same bracelet, but yours was lost, so others presumed to suspect Qin Jiaxi and then tried to snatch it away and give it to you. Uxian really didn't know how to answer the question. Qin Rong also echoed, if you damage other people's property up to a certain amount, you can go to jail. That is an antique bracelet given by my sister-in-law. If calculated according to the market price, it will cost at least 10 million, but it was torn off by you. As soon as these words came out, everyone present became calm. What? Isn't that the most expensive bracelet worth $1 million? You're lying. Why did Qin Jiaxi receive a bracelet worth tens of millions? What's going on with her? Seeing how everyone still wanted to shirk responsibility, Qin Yi couldn't help but said, the bracelets in the same series are all very similar, and the maximum is only 1 million, but what Jiaxi has is an antique, unique in the world, and now all the beads are missing. Do you need me to call the police now? At this moment, someone finally couldn't hold on anymore and said, Uxian, that bracelet is yours. Before, you cried and said that the bracelet your brother gave you was lost. We said we saw the same one at Qin Jiaxi, but you didn't deny it at all. Young Master Su, we asked you about the bracelet before. We also asked whether Qin Jiaxi had stolen Uxian's, but you didn't even explain, so we misunderstood. It's not our fault. Because they were afraid of taking responsibility, everyone spontaneously began to expose the misleading tricks of the two people. After all, if the two people really knew that Qin Jiaxi had this bracelet and said those specious words, wouldn't it be misleading them? Although they are not afraid of offending Qin Jiaxi, if this bracelet is really so expensive, how many people here can afford to pay for it? They don't want to get caught by the police. This commotion made both Suzy and Uxian look ugly, because they had indeed done such a thing, so they had no way to defend themselves. Look, some things cannot withstand scrutiny, but this Uxian is also good at playing with people's hearts. Just because he did not encourage Xuanhuan to steal the bracelet and deliberately failed, Xuanhuan gave him a bracelet of the same series after receiving the bracelet. Uxian was interested after all. Qin Jiaxi wore it secretly before and no one saw it, so everyone thought that Uxian wore it first and then disappeared, and Qin Jiaxi only wore it in addition, due to her affair with Su Zi. He knew that even if Suzy didn't understand what she was doing, he would definitely not protect Qin Jiaxi or help her speak. In this way, Xuan can once again use her classmates to bully Qin Jiaxi to vent her anger, thinking that if she can't get the bracelet, it would be good to destroy it. It seems that she has done this many times in the past, and she succeeded every time. Of course, all this has something to do with Suzy and Xuanhuan. Finally, Suzy couldn't help it anymore. Shut up, it's so noisy. Did Xuan and I say anything from the beginning to the end? It's what you take for granted. What does it have to do with us? Xuan also looked aggrieved and even wanted to hide behind Suzy. I don't know why things turned out like this. I really don't know anything. The bracelets are similar. It's probably just a coincidence. Seeing the two people saying this, who still doesn't understand that they really wronged Qin Jiaxi. Forget it in the past, now this bracelet is so expensive. She broke it, we just said a few words. Someone else pointed at the female classmate who took the lead in bullying Qin Jiaxi and said. The female classmate seemed to have quite an identity. Although she was blushing because of Xuan's stab in the back, she still frowned and said, I just have reasonable suspicion. If Qin Jiaxi is willing to show it to us for identification, there will be no misunderstanding, the bracelet will not break. You're quite good at using strong words to reason. Cousin, please call the police, Ji-Fei said directly. Everyone panicked instantly and tried to persuade the female classmates. You, don't go too far, the female classmate said and glanced at Suzy in panic, as if hoping that the other party could help him speak. But Suzy just looked at everyone with an ugly expression and didn't care about the female classmates at all. Haha, when you bully others, why don't you think about the consequences? Qin Chao sneered, then thought about it and whispered to Ji-Fei, second sister-in-law, the punishment for calling the police will probably be very low, so why not try another way? Ji-Fei shrugged indifferently, as long as he wanted to vent his anger on Qin Jiaxi. Qin Chao took the bead he had just picked up from Qin Jiaxi's hand and suddenly threw it into the pool. It's okay if you don't call the police. You, and you. Qin Chao pointed at the people who had just bullied Qin Jiaxi, come in and pick up the beads. If one is missing, we will call the police. Don't say anything, we didn't give you a chance. In an instant, the faces of everyone who was named became extremely ugly. And Ji-Fei's sharp eyes saw Qin Chao secretly hiding a bead at a glance. Good guy, it's surprising that they were able to pick up all of them. Window. Tabula equals window. Tabula. Tabula.push, mode, thumbspeed -01, container, tabula below article thumbnail -300x250, placement, below article thumbnail -300x250, target. Type, mix. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. After the wife of a wealthy family was read by her mind, the melon field was full of wild animals. Author, Yuze. Chapter 359. When Qin Jiaxi was bullied, they felt nothing, but now they felt a strong sense of shame. They want to resist, how can they accept being bullied like this? But Qin Chao said directly, injury to other people's finances, coupled with the collective bullying just now, I think it is still negotiable to ask your school to expel you. I advise you to be aware of current affairs, and now you can minimize the big problem. We may not have such good intentions later. Finally, the boy who was originally staying in the pool and was stared at by Qin Chao, who dared not come out, couldn't hold it anymore and shouted, why don't you come in quickly? We have wronged people in the first place. I don't want to be dragged down anymore. If anything happens, over there at the school. We are not fools. When our companion said this, we immediately became scared. In the past, she dared to bully Qin Jiaxi so unscrupulously because no one supported her. After all, in the eyes of everyone, Qin Jiaxi's biggest supporter was her boyfriend Suzy. But now, Suzy was suppressed to death. The most incomprehensible thing is that these people with teacher Qin seem to be members of the Qin family. They don't help Uxin, but they help Qin Jiaxi. Maybe it's because they help the manager but not the relatives, or there is infighting among the wealthy families. They don't want to be cannon fodder, so if there is a step now, they should take it easy. It can only be said that these guys have been brainwashed so deeply that they have not discovered the problem of identity until now. In the end, only the leading female classmate did not go down, but stared at Qin Jiaxi with red eyes and trembling body. You seem to be the first offender. It seems that your family is quite rich and can afford to pay for this bracelet, Ji Fei said with a smile. In fact, he could tell that according to the way this female classmate was dressed, she was obviously a wealthy daughter. The female classmate became even more angry when she was said to be a prisoner. But the companion who was picking up things in the pool called the female classmate's name to persuade her. This actually made Ji Fei know the name of her female classmate. It happened that Ji Fei wanted to know why the female classmate was targeting Qin Jiaxi so much. It turns out that this girl has been taking the initiative to bully Qin Jiaxi. Let's see, it turns out that she and Suzy have always been in the same school, and her family is doing business with the Su family. She has been obsessed with Suzy since she was a child, and she is jokingly called the school guard by outsiders. She has always driven away girls who are close to Suzy. As long as they are not as good as her, she will lead a small group to bully them and find trouble in various ways. Qin Jiaxi is not the first one because she feels that Qin Jiaxi is not worthy Suzy's girlfriend's identity, so it's been more than a year. Wait, I'll take a look. Qin Chao and Qin Rong were getting angry when they were suddenly stuck, and they became curious. What did the second sister-in-law find? Ji Fei suddenly turned his head to look at Suzy, and his expression changed several times. Okay, I had a hunch, is this really the case, bitch ah. Before Ji Fei's heart exploded, she heard her say to her female classmate, I'm curious, why do you hate Qin Jiaxi so much? Has she done anything to hurt you? The female classmate probably didn't expect that the other party would suddenly ask such a question, and was immediately stunned. But his eyes drifted towards Suzy uncontrollably. Qin Jiaxi naturally knew that she was very sensitive. She knew that the other party was because of Suzy. In the past, she was unwilling to talk about it because she didn't want to attack a girl in this way. But now thinking about it, she was really stupid. The other party bullied her like this. With her, if you can't attack back, you should be like your brothers and sisters. So Qin Jiaxi said directly, because she likes Suzy, she hates me. These words immediately made the female classmate's face turn red with embarrassment, and Suzy also darkened his face for a moment. Qin Jiaxi. This roar made Qin Yi tremble. He didn't expect that in such a scene, Suzy would dare to yell at Qin Jiaxi so confidently. His face turned cold. Are you yelling at Jiaxi? What qualifications do you have? It seems like I should talk to your family about your upbringing. Suzy's expression suddenly changed, but he did not dare to reply to Qin Yi. He could only say coldly, Jiaxi, it's enough to prove your innocence. Do you have to make trouble like this and make everyone look bad? What are you doing now? Talking about people. Right or wrong? How did you become like this? That's right, Jiaxi, it's really not good for you to talk about people's rights and wrongs like this. Just wait until you get the bracelet beads back and stop talking nonsense, Uxin also persuaded softly from behind. Ji Fei chuckled softly and said to the female classmate, you are deliberately targeting Qin Jiaxi because she is Suzy's girlfriend. I think your eyesight may not be very good. Why don't you go back to the ophthalmology department? The female classmate was dumbfounded and was about to get angry when she saw Ji Fei move her steps, giving the female classmate a huge field of vision. Pointing in the direction of Suzy and Uxin, he said, anyone who is not blind can see who Suzy really cares about. His girlfriend in name is still his lover in his heart. Are you targeting the wrong person? Don't be blocked by others. The gunman is still complacent, and people think you are a fool. Following Ji-Fei's earth-shattering words and looking over, there were only two people standing over there, completely separated from the others. Suzy stood in front, and Uxin seemed to be hiding behind Suzy, seeking shelter. They stood closer than anyone else. On the other hand, Suzy's so-called girlfriend Qin Jiaxi is completely on the opposite side. In an instant, it was as if the fog had been lifted. The people picking up the beads froze, looked here, and gave a warning. Qin Jiaxi, who had been vaguely aware of something, finally confirmed at this moment that she was a fan of the authorities. Others could see it through a simple contact. What a fool she is. At this time, Suzy and Uxin, who were exposed, could no longer hold back, their eyes widened with anger. What nonsense are you talking about? Sister, how can you wrongly accuse me? How could I? Jia 11 and I are good friends. I am not. Uxin's eyes were red, and she looked like she was about to cry. You are the mistress, shameless. Qin Rong rarely quarreled with others, but she couldn't stand it anymore. We saw it when we came here. Qin Yi couldn't help it either. Because there was no evidence, it was difficult to say, but now he didn't care. Just now in the grove, weren't you close to each other? The four of us are not blind. Qin Yi became more and more angry as he thought about it. He should have caught him in the act in the grove just now, but he only saw his side face at that time. Although he had participated in rich families' gatherings and met Suzy several times, they were not of the same age and had never communicated at all, so he didn't recognize him for a while. It was not until he saw him face to face just now that he recognized this scum. I don't know why Uncle San was willing to let such a person be my younger sister's boyfriend. At this moment, Suzy and Uxin were really confused. They never expected that what happened just now was seen. No wonder the Qin family had such an attitude. And did Qin Jiaxi hear about it, so she treated him like that just now? After the wife of a wealthy family was read by her mind, the melon field was full of wild animals. Author, Yuze. Chapter 360. Suzy subconsciously felt that Qin Jiaxi loved him so much that she couldn't leave him. She only treated him like this because she was hurt. And he remembered that there was no one around just now, and if someone saw it, it was far away, so he subconsciously refuted and took 2 steps forward, trying to pull Qin Jiaxi. I didn't, I was with Uxin just now, but we were also talking about your bracelet. It's just that Uxin fell and I helped her. Maybe she was misunderstood. Now is not the time to expose the relationship between Uxin and him, he must suppress it. Uxin also knew that the problem was serious. If someone else saw it, he could still argue that it was not the two of them, but the other party was a member of the Qin family. This cannot be argued in any way. Suzy's statement can barely save face. Yes, you really saw it wrong, we just. Uxin also wanted to agree. As a result, Ji-Fei didn't give her a chance to speak at all, and interrupted directly, are you sure your mouths didn't hit each other when you fell together? What kind of statement is this? Of course, the two people strongly denied it. Haha, wipe off the messy lipstick on your mouth first, then quibble. As soon as Ji-Fei said this, everyone's eyes instantly focused on the two people's mouths. Although Uxin applied a light color, which was closer to the original lip color, you can still see the messy smears at the corners of her mouth, not to mention Suzy. If you look carefully, you can clearly see the color division. Sure enough, they just bit each other very fiercely, and they were all stained with each other's lipstick. Qin Chao laughed and said, is cheating so unprofessional? You don't even know how to wipe your ass clean. Several people in the Qin family couldn't help laughing out loud. And Suzy and Uxin really had no way to defend themselves now, and they could only wipe their mouths subconsciously, which confirmed everything. In an instant, everyone's eyes changed when they looked at them. Everyone couldn't believe it, because in their opinion, Suzy was the eldest son of the Su family. Is it necessary to do such a thing as cheating secretly? It's simply unbelievable. Okay. Ji-Fei said, at least they are quite professional at lying with their eyes open, without blushing, or beating their hearts. It seems that they have fooled GXC a lot in the past. This time, the development of the matter was quite unexpected. Without thinking too much, the scumbag and the bitch were exposed on the spot. Although Ji-Fei was worried whether Qin GXC could accept it, she couldn't let it go. After all, she was the wife of the head of the family and had to protect the little ones below. So it is better to suffer a short pain than a long pain. Ji-Fei said directly to Qin GXC, did you see it clearly? You were deceived. Qin GXC didn't cry. Although her eyes were red, she nodded with a cold expression, I know, I was deceived from the beginning. Suzy never liked me. He liked, always Uxin. That's why he chose to help Uxin hurt me again and again, many times, many times. Qin GXC said everything herself. It was as if she had cut open her heart and forced herself to see all the facts clearly. The so-called sweet memories in the past were all fake. She was recalling them with a filter. GXC, you. Suzy was anxious. How can you deny my feelings for you? All this can be explained. Suzy, from the first time you stood on Uxin's side without reason like those people and made me feel wronged, I should have seen clearly that everything was just me deceiving myself and giving you the opportunity to hurt me. From now on, we are not boyfriend and girlfriend. You can treat anyone you want well and let anyone be your girlfriend, Qin GXC said, lowered her eyes, and gradually fell silent. It was not a sharp breakup, just like passing it over lightly. You want to break up with me? Suzy couldn't believe it. Don't forget, it's you who likes me, and I gave you the opportunity to be my girlfriend. Until this moment, Suzy still had a face that said I can look up to you, and you should be grateful for giving you the title of girlfriend. It's really disgusting. Qin GXC wanted to refute for a moment. It was obviously Suzy who showed goodwill and confessed first, so she was moved. But suddenly, it was meaningless. No matter what the other party said, I did like her and couldn't refute it. Anyway, we were going to break up, and arguing about it would be confusing. Because Qin GXC was soft-hearted, she didn't refute it, which made Ji-Fei miss a melon and didn't dig deeper. Just think I'm blind, Qin GXC said coldly. Qin Rong hugged Qin GXC distressedly. Suzy was so angry that he wanted to curse, but was interrupted by Ji-Fei. Ji-Fei asked, why don't you ask why he did this? He obviously liked Uxin, so he could just date Uxin. Why did he have to confess to you in a high-profile manner, date in name, but secretly be with Uxin? Ji-Fei knew it, but she couldn't say it. She wanted Qin GXC to force it out and completely break up this relationship. Suzy's arrogance was instantly extinguished, and his eyes rolled nervously. But Qin GXC seemed to have gotten used to it. After all, her mother and brother could choose Uxin and give up on her for no reason, so she had accepted it all by default, but never thought about getting to the bottom of it. Seeing Qin GXC's emotionless look, Ji-Fei felt distressed and helpless, and was just about to think of a way to skin the scumbag a little harder. Suddenly, the female classmate who had been silent next to her finally exploded. Whether it was seeing the two of them standing together just now, or the identification of the lipstick marks, or what Qin GXC said, in fact, there was a voice in her heart telling her that all of this was true. Suzy's attitude towards Qin GXC has always been strange. He knew that they were bullying, but he never defended her. Occasionally, Qin Jiaxi and Uxin had conflicts. If he was there, he would definitely stand on Uxin's side and watch Qin Jiaxi's grievances and pain without any reaction. At that time, she only felt complacent and couldn't bear to see Suzi's girlfriend Xu Xian, but now she felt a chill on her back. And what Ji Fei said just now, she was used as a gun. How could it be possible? No, she must be able to find a reasonable reason. How could Suzi like Uxian? Then what about Qin Jiaxi? Then what about everything they did to Qin Jiaxi? No, no, it's impossible. Suzi takes care of Uxian because Uxian is his good brother's sister. It's... The female classmate seemed to be shocked, but she still subconsciously refuted it with her own stereotypes. But seeing those lip marks that were hard to wipe clean, the female classmate's lips still trembled. The Qin family was stunned, as if they had heard about brothers and sisters before. But didn't Uxian come from an orphanage? Where did her brother come from? Ji Fei was distracted and remembered something at this moment. She knew from gossip that Xuanhuan forced Qin Jiaxi to hide his identity in school in order to take care of Uxian's self-esteem. In addition, these guys are obviously snobbish, but they treat Uxian so well. If she didn't have an identity, it would be strange no matter how you look at it. Could it be that Xuanhuan did something worse than pigs and dogs again?